People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC has worked tirelessly to recreate wealth and the country's social fabric at large. This was no easy task due to the deplorable state the country was in, but these efforts weren't made in vain, as today Guyana is at a much better place.
In many developing countries, in Guyana is no different. The social reality harkens back on the past. Less so than now, definitely 2015. Our social reality is quite different from what it was, let us say, at the time of emancipation in the 1880s, or even at the time of independence in the 1960s. But still they are lasting. 1992, we had the zeal and the conviction and the ideological clarity of what needed to be done. And I must say, with the support of both the internal and the external stakeholders, we were able to slowly but surely turn the situation around to where we are in 2015.
The PPPC administration has been able to successfully redistribute the wealth created to serve the social needs of the people. This has been done through the collection of taxes.
I would be the first to concede that lots of the things that we have done in the realm of tax policy and redistribution in wealth to address welfare and social spending issues, they have been done elsewhere. But it wasn't done here in Guyana. And it wasn't done successfully in Guyana. And we in the PPP Civic Administration have done it. The focus has always been redistribution. We have to effectively and efficiently collect tax revenue. And then, in its redistribution of wealth, we have to have the most effective mechanisms that we can put in place to garner the benefits of that redistribution.
Through focusing on the recreation and growth of the country's economy, government has created the leeway for addressing welfare and welfare-related issues, further stabilizing and sustaining a growing economy so that Guyanese have been able to enjoy several welfare interventions.
The economy had to be attended to. The economy had to grow. One had to collect revenue. One had to take the revenue collected from the wealth that has or was being created and properly redistributed. And that is what allowed us the modicum of successes that we've had in addressing welfare and welfare interventions. If your economy grows at a good clip, there exists lesser chance that you would not have enough money to make aggressive interventions in implementing welfare interventions. If your economy's growth is anemic, or if there are reversals and the growth of the economy is constrained, like what happened in the financial crisis in 2008 and onwards.
From the inception, social policies were high on the agenda of the PPPC administration. Many of these interventions were also made possible by constitutional provisions that speak to the welfare orientation of the society.
The government imposes on the administration, the executive, certain norms that address welfare. So yes, we have been better at implementing those constitutional provisions.
Also, laws have been crafted in almost every sector, more particularly in the social sector. Legislative provisions that secure the state's commitment to these welfare interventions.
So what we have brought together really is an amalgam. You have constitution, you have the law, and you have the executive all collaborating in ensuring that what is done in terms of interventions is indeed appropriate, what is done is indeed sustainable, what is done is indeed responsive to the situation that actually exists at the time our intervention is made.
Large sums of money are also invested into these sectors annually to cater for the social needs of the people.
From 1992 onward, social sector spending has taken off like a meteor. You know, there was a time we used to talk about the 2020 and used to put some limits and say, you know, we must never allow this level of spending to be less than this, like in education, less than 20%. Social spending, $28 billion. On education in 2013, out of the 70-something billion that we spent, 28 billion was on education alone. So, yes, in terms of the actual social sector spending, I would want to go further and say the outcome. This is, you have spent the money. Well, let us sit down now and discuss what has been the consequence, what has been the impact, what has been the outcome. And if we're going to be using some proxy as a measurement of our successes in intervening on the welfare side, what should we conclude? And we use the big things. Poverty, our poverty spending has grown. And as the poverty spending increases, the level of poverty in the society has decreased. And we continue using that type of analysis to say an intervention has been made, and these are the consequences that have arisen, allowing us to conclude that we are achieving those outcomes that we have established. And in this context, there can be no question. This amazing turnaround in the level of expenditure in the social sector is also mirrored in the impact and the outcome of that spending. Look at it. Health, education, housing, these in the social sector have all, even immodestly I might say, unqualified success stories.
Today, every Guyanese 65 years of age receives a pension of over $13,000 monthly. Over 42,500 pensioners benefit from this intervention. Before, they had to undergo a means test, and only those who qualified would have received a small amount of money.
Now, if you go back to where we were in 1992, and you go back to today and look at the difference between what was offered then and what is being offered now, any fool will be able to tell you that's because the economy today could sustain the payment of over $13,000 a month non-contributorily to every Guyanese over 65.
Senior citizens also benefit from government's electricity subsidy of $30,000 a year. Meanwhile, 23,810 pensioners benefited from water subsidies amounting to over $227 million in 2014 alone.
GPL on the water rate, that is very, very welcome. And I think it would enhance the pensioners a little.
In 2014, every child in the public education system began receiving $10,000 cash grant per year. In addition, they're given snacks and juice, and in hinterland communities, hot meals. Also, textbooks and exercise books are provided in primary and secondary schools.
I think this $10,000 is good for the children. At least it could help the kids to buy stuff and help them to come to school every day.
This 10,000 that given to the student, the 10,000 is benefit for the children, school clothes, boots, books, whatever the children need, right? It's benefit for the children. The money got spent on the children, not on we parents. We parents is not to use up the money. It's for the children benefit, for them improve them education more.
The Ministry of Human Services Public Assistance Program allows for disadvantaged individuals to benefit from monthly support countrywide. These are only some of the numerous programs that government has put in place for the welfare of its people.